He's a great wingman if Din was out there trying to date in a galaxy far, far away. He's a terrible wingman for everything else Din is trying to do in a galaxy far, far away right now.
That right there is going to be the cold open for the podcast. I can tell you right now. That'll come up before the intro.
The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.
Hello there, and welcome to The Force of Others. I'm Matt Beutner, and I do not have a co-host today, but I will not be alone for long. We're very, very, very happy to welcome onto The Force of Others this week Dante, Dio, and Bobby Robertson, two of the heads of Rebel Scum Con, the Star Wars convention that is on its way to North Texas 3 months from today, August 8th through 10th in Frisco, or I think it's at the, I need to get this right. I believe that it is at the Frisco Convention Conference Center in Dallas, Texas. Either way, I'm very happy to go to that convention. Can officially announce Force of Others will be there. Our microphones will be there. Our cameras will be there, as well as ourselves. We will be there. And but we are going to have two of the heads of that con on the show today. It is a long conversation. We talked for about 2 hours. We're Team Tangent for a while. But, as always, our mission here is to find out what Star Wars means to as many people as possible, to get their authentic takes. And there are hot takes abound in the conversation you are about to listen to. But if you aren't excited to come to Rebel Scum Con after this conversation, I don't know what else I can do for you. These guys love Star Wars. They have authentic, nerdy, deep fandom. And their mission for this convention is to make everybody feel welcome. No matter what parts of Star Wars you like, come on down. So we hope to see you at Rebel Scum Con. But real quick, I want to talk about the Star Wars that's happening outside of a convention. I am up to date on Andor as of right now. I have seen Andor Season 2 episodes, I believe that was 7 through 9, that came out this week. Longtime listeners know that I have been a little critical of Andor. And I do want to apologize. Last episode, I feel like we were a little too negative. It was more me than Zach, but I kind of just complained a lot, and I don't want this show to be that. And that's not why I'm saying what I'm about to say, but I just wanted to say in general, I want to try and keep it positive. But, like I said before, like I said a moment ago, I have been critical of Andor. I've been critical of its tone. I felt that it makes kind of an elitist divide amongst Star Wars fans. I feel that the tone doesn't always fit with the universe. But with all that being said, I can tell you, free of any hyperbole, any exaggeration, there might be some recency bias in my mind. But from where I'm sitting right now, Andor Season 2, Episode 8 is my favorite episode of Star Wars television. Hands down. I thought it was haunting. I'm not going to give any spoilers for those that haven't seen it yet. Our deep dive review is coming next week. It's probably going to be out after the finale of Andor has come and gone. But I thought it was absolutely incredible. I can say, free of any shame, that I wept at Episode 8 and Episode 9. I ugly cried a couple times. I absolutely loved it. I have so much to say about those episodes, and we'll get to it next week, but especially the message of Episode 9, that objective truth is important. And when objective truth is pulled and ripped away, that's something that people need to do something about. But to save all the Andor stuff for next week, we're going to have a nice, fun, deep, nerdy Star Wars conversation. So without any further ado, I'm going to throw it over to the interview cantina for our conversation with Dante, Dio, and Bobby Robertson from Rebel Scum Con. All right, and we are here in the interview cantina with our guests for today's episode. Let's give a huge welcome from all over this galaxy for Bobby and Dante from Rebel Scum Con. What's up, guys?
How's it going, buddy? How are you?
Good, man. I'm just hanging. I'm happy to have y'all here on The Force of Others. First question, just to get to know some specifics about you guys and about this show. When did you decide to start a Star Wars convention?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good Bobby question, actually. He's there from the origins.
pretty
Nice.
much at the beginning of us getting involved with rebelscum.com as a brand itself. My partner Joshua and I didn't start rebelscum.com, but we did purchase it or continue carrying the torch, so to speak, after Philip kind of sought us out and recruited us back in like 2020-ish. And one of the first questions he asked us was, what was something you see in the future of the brand of rebelscum.com, or Rebel Scum rather itself? And that was one of the first things our partner Josh said was, well, I would love to see some kind of Rebel Scum Con, so to speak. So really, day one.
Right on.
You
That's
said that
cool.
like hot tub time machine, and I really enjoyed that actually. Some kind of hot tub time machine. I don't know. That randomly pops into my head, and you said it in the same cadence. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Hot tub time machine. Great white buffalo. This
Fun fact.
show is a great white buffalo, by the way. Great white
buffalo. Fun fact, I have never seen Hot Tub Time Machine. I'd like to. I've heard it's funny.
Oh, it's very funny.
Very random, yes.
Right on. I'll add it to the watch list. I dig it. So kind of from the beginning of you guys inheriting rebelscum.com, this was the plan. And so for those who don't know, if there's anybody listening to this thing, what is rebelscum.com?
Well, rebelscum.com is the oldest and largest Star Wars fan informational website in the world. It was started in '96 by Philip Wise, and they were, well, he along with a bunch of other fans, a few fans at the time, which grew into more fans over the years, built one of the largest Star Wars fan websites with lots of other awesome fans in it. There's always constant discussions going on in the forums of rebelscum.com, as well as just news on the main page all the time, because it's also been a news outlet since its conception. And then there was a little bit of a lull there for a few years, as I think Philip was searching for kind of the next group of guys, so to speak, to take over the brand. And now, since we've been working on the website, there's just a constant stream of news and fun fan content, with more fans getting more involved and contributing. Now it's not just rebelscum.com or rebelscum.com hosts featured on rebelscum.com, but also we have a number of other just outside content creators who have joined the fold and started contributing content as well.
Right on, because see, I go back to, I'm a prequel trilogy kid.
Me too.
I was born in '89, so I was very conscious when Phantom Menace came out. But Rebel Scum was one of the places that I would go, just talking to other people that actually liked the prequels. I remember as a young guy, which wasn't super common everywhere. But or even going back to mid '90s when I actually really fell in love with Star Wars, it was the dark times, right?
Yeah,
Shadows of the Empire and stuff was what we had.
Yeah,
when I was little.
Yeah,
Yeah. But right on, rebelscum.com has been there for forever. The real ones know. But so to kind of steer it back to the convention, what makes Rebel Scum Con stand out from like other shows?
Oh, that's a great question.
Thanks, man.
Well, while a lot of other shows tend to be more generalized to pop culture overall, Rebel Scum Con is specifically a Star Wars fan culture event. Star Wars is the focus. It's at the center point of what Rebel Scum Con is. We are coming together as a group of fans to spread the love and joy of that which we have all been sharing for the better part of almost 50 years now, coming up in 2 years. And some of us have joined along the way, like you and Dante and myself, because we're not 50 years old yet. I mean, I'm literally as old as the website that I'm part owner in now. And while I wasn't there for the start of it, I'm more than honored to be continuing to carry it on. And organizing a big culture event that we feels highlights all of the best parts of not only Star Wars itself, but the fandom as well, only just makes sense for us, and that's why we did it.
Yeah. It's like, I just want to highlight just something you're saying about, I mean, Star Wars conventions, like, overseas, apparently it's a big thing. Like, having just here and there, like, oh, there's like 3 or 4 maybe, and that's great. The United States, you look at something that's a constant staple, it's not there, and it's very unfortunate.
Right.
And you would think there would be, especially with, all the different places to have it. They have the infrastructure, obviously ton of fans in the U.S., right?
The origins of Star Wars, literally
Right.
itself,
That
its birth country,
Right.
all that.
Right. That part too. So yeah, I mean, it just made a ton of sense. Like when Bobby approached me, to do some work for it, and I was like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, okay, I like Star Wars, and I've almost been doing marketing for a decade now. So it's like I could just put my two loves together, and this is perfect kind of thing. So I mean that, Bobby was saying is just like, just having something very consistent stateside. That was one of the big goals that I've found pretty quick. But also, kind of going more towards what Bobby said too, it's like there are a lot of conventions out there. I mean, obviously outside of once you get past the Star Wars part, sometimes they're very focused, I guess you could say. We've seen a lot of like collector cons that are focused maybe on just collecting of like certain things like toys, maybe collecting collectibles, right? Collectibles, memorabilia, things of that sort, or might just be like cosplay, right? So we're trying to bring like all of those different fandoms, like even like, hey, you like to read the books? You like to read the comics? Perfect. Let's come here. All of it, and then all eras too. We don't, we don't yuck anyone's yum. That's one of the bigger things. Like, we.
Oh, lost you for a second.
To Dante's point, at Rebel Scum Con, basically our goal is to represent all parts, or as many parts of the fandom as we possibly can. Whether your favorite part of A Galaxy Far, Far Away comes from the novels. Maybe your favorite part is just the original trilogy. Maybe you're one of those Star Wars fans who only Empire Strikes Back is Star Wars, and that's okay. Or maybe you're like the most of the rest of us who like just about all of it. Or maybe you're a book fan or a video game fan or a comic book fan, and that's your way of consuming Star Wars. It's not just one thing or another thing. Star Wars is so many different things. It's a big, beautiful mosaic. It's a big, huge, awesome picture made up of a bunch of awesome, incredible little pictures and other little stories that without one or another piece, the rest of the picture isn't complete. Whether you love one piece more than another piece, I mean, Star Wars is awesome. And another big part of that picture is, in my opinion, the fans themselves. So having us all together, in addition to hanging out with Star Wars celebrities, because it's cool to hang out with people like Sam Witwer and Katie Sackhoff, but but at the end of the day, like, it's also just as cool to hang out with guys like you, and because just like they're a part of Star Wars, we're a part of Star Wars, even though we're not physically in it, but we're part, as the fans of
keeping it alive.
And so I feel like honoring and acknowledging us as well as everybody else, and as well as having lots of cool toys and vendors available, and a lot of creative artists, which there are going to be some incredible creative artists. And now we've even finally got to let the cat out of the bag about Mark Draven and tattoos being at Rebel Scum Con this year, which was something we were really working hard on year one. And unfortunately it didn't happen on year one, but man, were we able to make it happen on year two. And that's just one more piece of Star Wars and the culture of it itself too, that is now going to be present at Rebel Scum Con.
Awesome. Well, I mean, both of you were speaking my language there. The biggest reason my buddy and I started this podcast, The Force of Others, is, like you just said, we both love talking Star Wars, but we love talking Star Wars with new people. This franchise has been around for coming up on 50 years, and there are so many different entry points. It can mean different things to everybody. So, for a very natural segue into the interview of sorts, It's where we're going to figure out what Star Wars means to you guys. And then I've got a couple more questions about the con when we wrap up. But so whoever wants to field this one first, but diving right into our interview segment.
I'm gonna let Dante take this one because I feel like I kind of answered that.
a little bit,
yeah. Because I did say it is what Star Wars means to me, I guess. Yeah. If that's okay.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. But so
okay.
The first question.
Yeah.
So Dante,
I'll go.
Where were you?
I answered it ahead of time with my name, Dante. Where are you at? Catch up, buddy.
Look, well, hey, my battery's now here, so we're good. That was
I
so
couldn't
random.
tell what fell out of your headset there. It was very funny. But so Dante, where were you when you first saw Star Wars, or what is the first Star Wars memory that you have?
Yeah, core memory. I mean, technically, I remember trying to be shown the original trilogy, and as like the '90s kid I am, I was like, those graphics are terrible. I don't want to watch this old movie. Like, very superficial and things of that sort. So my real Star Wars timeline kind of really started when Episode 1 came out. I actually have a picture of me in the first grade, in the Anakin pod racer.
That's cool.
It was awesome. And then there's a Padme too, which I still need to. Actually, I'm going to Virginia, back my home, tomorrow, so I might try and find that picture. But there was a Padme around too, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. But I just remember getting in the theater, and it was just very, in a good way, very overwhelming. It's like, wow, you've never seen anything like this before, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like, George pushed the limits of everything, right? A lot of things are here today because of what he decided to do with all these prequel movies, but especially Episode 1, right? That ILM series actually has a lot to, if anyone, obviously you guys know, but if anyone's very curious to kind of the inner workings of all of that, that's a really good show. I still to catch up, but I just put that on. I put that on just as comfort sometimes. Wow, that's so cool of how it's made kind of thing, because it's it's on the screen and it's whoa, this is cool. But then you never think about how it got there, right? What was the thought process and just the processes of making it a thing, right? So Episode 1, that was the big thing for me. I had everything. Man, us 90s kids were eating, because it was nice, merch, everything, even down to the Pepsis. You go to Taco Bell. I had this. I still remember it, and I'm trying to find it on eBay actually. Every time I look, I forget, and then it's gone. But I had this trifold Velcro Darth Maul all red wallet. Awesome. Yeah, even had a little coin. Awesome. Yeah, I just had so much. It's so weird though too. I never really had the toys, but I had all the random memorabilia of it. So, that's where it started. Episode 1. Shout out.
Awesome.
Maybe that's why you collect more posters and prop replica and more large scale type collectibles instead of action figures, since you didn't really grow up as an action figure kid.
I don't know. My teen years, I kind of did. I didn't collect them myself, but I was around it a lot. With a former family member, I'd go with them to go hunt for the toys for their collection in general. But I was just damn, that's a lot of space, because I'm a Hot Toys collector. I'm I get one big thing, cool, it's done. I don't have to have worry about positioning 60 different, if you could see Bobby, very impressive. I just not even the size of that. Man. I mean, that's impressive, but the sheer just patience to put it all together, I think, is even more impressive than the collection itself. So
man, you thought that took patience.
Whoa. Okay. Listeners, he has all of the action figures. Looks quite literally like all of them.
Yeah.
Just about.
Wild.
I mean, I do have almost every single different version of each character in Black Series loose at this point.
That is wild.
Just about.
Yeah, Bobby's the guy. If you need a figure,
that's cool.
He's probably got
I love figures.
That was the. I would say rebelscum.com, it kind of helps out quite a bit with that, because he's already doing it anyways. So then getting to review it and getting to cover it is just it's nothing. It's really not work. It's just pride of being able to share with everyone else kind of thing. So
right on.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, this is not a question on the rundown, but I have to ask, Bobby, what got you into collecting figures?
Oh.
Yeah, I actually finally got finally made a video sort of about this the other day.
Oh, cool.
it was really just my love of Star Wars, because I got into Star Wars around when Phantom Menace was coming out in '99, because I was a toddler at that time, watching the original trilogy on VHS just like over and over and over again. Because when I was really little, that was like one of the few things I remember seeing. Like, that's one of my earliest memories, just in life in general right now, is watching Star Wars on VHS. And it was the THX versions, the THX trilogy. And from there, just being a kid obsessed with Star Wars, eventually, I think it was a Target, my parents got me a one of the original Lego sets, the C-3PO and R2-D2 escape pod set. So, also just one of the first Lego sets in Star Wars in general. Now, I have a copy. Here, I'll show you. Awesome. There's my hand. Right there. Sealed. Cool. I don't have my original Lucy's anymore, unfortunately. But from there, I just eventually got into 3 3/4 a little bit. Probably around elementary school age is when I started getting to 3 3/4 and a little less Lego Star Wars, because I just dug the action figures more. I liked the more realistic look, the screen accurate look versus just the minifigs. And I still collect some Lego. I love it, especially Rogers. But I just dig seeing each character, and having that character represented in the collection. Because for me, it's kind of what brings me closer to Star Wars, is just literally having that universe just around me. And so kind of about from there, just off and on over the years, I was collecting just 3 3/4 figures until about 10-ish years ago, when Rogue One came out. And I just got like super obsessed about Star Wars and really started collecting 3 3/4 again. And then I switched over to 6-inch scale, and I've been mostly 6-inch scale ever since. But cool. Since I was about 3 or 4, I would say.
Love it.
That's a great question, actually. We've been on a lot of these pods, and no one's ever asked about the origins there. Yeah.
I'm looking at one of the bigger collections of action figures I've ever seen anywhere. I'm like, I have to know what started this.
Well, Bobby, so cool. do you want to drop a little crumb there, like how you're gonna kind of introduce that, I guess, to the con? Especially around Matt.
Oh, well, so I'm not bringing the whole Black Series collection.
Well, yeah, not the whole,
but
a portion, which is still very impressive.
I am bringing a portion of it. So one of the things I started almost about 2-ish years ago. Basically, I got tired of Hasbro. Tired of waiting on Hasbro to, not that I don't love them, and not that they haven't been like giving me a lot of great stuff lately. I want to preface that. Like, I got tired of waiting on Hasbro for something silly and something that honestly they don't have time for, actually. Right, or at least maybe not right now, especially with us needing more main characters. I got tired of waiting on like an OOM-9. I got tired of waiting on a battle droid pilot, and I got tired of waiting on a security officer. That was it. That was all it is. But Hasbro did provide us with the pieces for those droid variants, just without the paint job. So I started with just the other 3 variants. I took the Black Series B1, and I made myself a pilot. I made myself a security. I made myself an OOM-9 from Phantom Menace. And then I was thinking to myself, I could do a few more. I could do the Geonosis versions. Those are in Battlefront 2. I mean, this was simple enough. I could go further. They also did the Geonosis Heavy. I could turn a Heavy into a plain beige Heavy variant, like in Battlefront 2. Okay, and then I did that. I could do more. I could do this, and then so on and so forth. And then other guys were like, well, what about Mr. Bones? And what about Roger from Freemakers? And so. All of which are not just fan favorite droids of mine, or fan favorite versions of B1 variants, but fan favorite characters of mine in general. R1, R0, GR is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Period. I mean,
Right on.
he's just like in my moment that, or in my mind, that is John Battle Droid. Like that is the central personality for like how I see pretty much all post-war battle droids, like because they all basically are copied from the same personality matrix anyway. But just that cheerful. No, I just want to live a life, and I'm happy to be a part of yours. Happy to do whatever it is, because they're always cheerful. They're always, Roger, Roger, when someone asks them to do it. They just want to be around. They just want to be doing stuff. and I think it's like that positivity that has just always resonated with me with them. And it's just like, they're always doing their best, even if it doesn't always work out, and they still will cheerfully, for the most part, say Roger, Roger, even if their boss literally just takes them out because he's angry one day. They're still there. They still say Roger, Roger. And then I just took around and it looked around the community and Star Wars in general, and there's a few other like really cool dedicated Roger fans too. Mr. Roger Rogers is one of my absolute favorite, even though it's Mr. Roger Rogers, for those of you who don't know, is hosted by a really nice lady and a very talented lady who makes some very cool things. And P. Newt is pretty funny. If you've seen any of his AI Roger vids on social media,
I haven't.
Then there's and then there's a few others, but there wasn't really anybody making or displaying just about every battle droid variant there is. I mean, not even any company in Lucasfilm. There is not an example of each different physical battle droid, including their paint jobs or anything else. So then I just started looking at the other models too, like why not expand into B2s and Droidicas and Magna Guards. So my goal started with 112 unique B1 variants, and the reason I chose that number specifically is because that's the number it takes for a full MTT's deployment. It's 112 B1 battle droids is what an MTT can do. Or I think it's 12 or 16 assorted other variants, which is wild how that scales. In the Clone Wars, you could deploy 112 B1s or 12 or 16 B2s. Wild. But that's what an MTT can handle. So I'm up to 71 unique B1 battle droid variants currently that are based off of official Lucasfilm sources. Now, not all of those variants are variants that I have painted myself, because some of those are included within like the ones that Hasbro themselves have produced, because obviously I don't have to do those if they did them. Or, like SH Figuarts, because I love theirs too. That mold is beautiful. But I'm up to 71 unique B1 variants. I have 127 unique battle droid variants in my collection that are in 6-inch scale within the specific Clone Wars era type battle droid units, not including like Dark Troopers from Mando or KX droids from Rogue One or whatever else. Just like B series, B1s, BXs, Magna Guards, Droidicas, B2s, B2HAs, because we also have that in Black Series now.
Wait, let me check.
one Grievous, technically, because I did recently make NK Necrosis, cool. Which was a battle droid made out of Grievous's remains, for those of you who don't know, by the Empire. It did not last long, nor did it actually see any fighting. He was just ripped apart by raiders who found the vault that he was being stored in. It was very unceremonious and honestly kind of a waste. But still a very cool droid. So anyway, what Dante was asking or teeing me up for is I will be bringing this droid army with me, this comprehensive droid army with me to Rebel Scum Con, so that all the Star Wars fans who attend can see what is currently the most comprehensive breakdown of each battle droid variant, at least as I've completed them so far, from official Lucasfilm sources. And that includes canon, Legends, concept art. If it's a Lucasfilm source, I plan on doing it. I've done a bunch from comics, video games that are, as I've mentioned already, some of which obscure. Some of them are, for example, security or pilot variants just from one episode in Clone Wars, because the paint job that they did on that security variant was just slightly different. A good example would be, remember the D Squad story arc?
Oh yeah.
So so the security B1s and the pilot B1 paint job are not the same security and pilot B1 paint jobs from a Phantom Menace. They are slightly different. Just different enough, and I did do those variants.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely unhinged, and I love it. I am here for it, and I cannot wait. Props to you. So how many do you think you're going to have when Rebel, not to, put you on the spot or anything.
But, by the time of RSC?
What's the low end goal?
I'm at 127 now.
Man.
Oh, that's low? Oh, never mind.
No, I'm currently at 127 now.
Yeah.
I have about 17 other droids on my work desk right now, at least. So I'm hoping 135, if not 140 by RSC.
The low? Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Matt should get a kick out of that.
And I don't know how many I'm going to end up with, because, to be honest with you, I'm still finding droid variants.
Man.
Like, as I search, I'm still finding them. I haven't found every single version yet. I know I'm close. I know if I haven't completed, if it's a variant I haven't completed yet, I probably have source material saved for it. But there's still, like, some obscure ones that still randomly pop up, because there's even variants I've completed based off of toy lines or tabletop gaming in Star Wars. Star Wars Miniatures has produced some very interesting battle droid variants that have never appeared anywhere else, not even in physical media that I can find. Like, there's a weird, really cool, like, kind of cocoa bean color brown B1 battle droid from the Star Wars Miniatures game, with some, like, silver accents on, like, the joints on, like, the rings and stuff.
That's cool.
And so far, for the life of me, I cannot find what the lore sources are for that droid. Only the fact that that miniature exists. It came out sometime around 2005. And that's all I can find on it. So, like I said, there's still obscure ones that are just popping up. There was one in a comic that just has a blue circle painted on its forehead, and that's it. That's all it is. It just has a blue circle on its face.
Counts. It's different.
And that is one I will be doing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that's crazy, and I can't wait to see it. I mean, spoilers, I'm coming to Rebel Scum Con. I live in Fort Worth, so I'm stoked. I'm here for this, to have a convention this close to home. But, right on. So I can assume you love battle droids.
Oh, yes.
Just a little bit, right?
That's awesome.
You could say that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, but you're doing something creative with it, so that's my favorite thing about it.
Right.
I try.
That's cool.
And that's the other goal, is like, is with the display. I hope when people see it, they're like, I could do something like that with the piece of Star Wars that I love the most. Like, somebody else might. I'm hoping that the takeaway is that there's another fan out there that sees it and sees that just because another company or a manufacturer didn't produce this doesn't mean that I can't still build a really cool collection or build something awesome with the piece of Star Wars that I love the most. And if I do anything else, if I do anything at all, and I inspire somebody, man, that would be awesome.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I love that. We're here for the fan creativity. You know what I mean? But so we know you love battle droids.
Yes.
But we'll start with Bobby first on this one. If you had to pick one, who's your favorite Star Wars hero?
My favorite Star Wars
droid
hero. Okay. Serious answer.
Yeah.
Serious answer. Revan.
Whoa. Cool.
Serious answer. Revan. Revan is a really, really good one. just because I really like stories where we can see a character not only become the worst version of themselves, but also become the best version of themselves after the fact, like Revan has. Going from being a hero to one of the worst, most dangerous villains to their only hope was just such a wild story and a really cool mirror to Vader.
Yeah.
But, thousands of years prior. He was the KOTOR Vader. But it was, I don't know, it's just like, it seems like it was more ruthless than even Anakin's, what's the word? Motivations were with Revan's when he was conquering the galaxy. Because, ultimately Anakin was doing it for love, but then, like, Revan just, we got corrupted and was like, why stop here, right? So, with Vader, it was like, I lost everything, might as well. But that was never the case for Revan. I don't know. Yeah. It's just so interesting and cool to me to see someone just become the worst versions of themselves, but then bring it all the way back around.
Yeah. That's a fantastic answer. All right, so Dante, same question. Who's your favorite Star Wars hero if you had to pick one?
Oh man, it's funny. I'm usually a villains guy, so
we'll get there on the next one.
I think that one's also gonna come up.
Yeah, for sure is. I don't know. I want to say Anakin just because like I understood his fall. He's trying to protect, lost the plot, right? That's how it is, I like these like hyperboles of like the Star Wars fathers just like overprotecting, and then it's like, whoa, you just totally went off the deep end of what you were trying to do to get there, right? And then even the found family part, for the ones that aren't fully there, pretty cool in Star Wars. So I would say that's very prevalent. So to not go like super like, I love Anakin. I don't know, Ahsoka's pretty interesting to me. I really enjoy her, especially with some of the discourse she got in the beginning. It's like, oh, it's just annoying, this annoying kid, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, let's calm down. Maybe let's, like, watch and see what
and
happens.
Now she's one of the most beloved characters in Star Wars ever.
Like, that alone, not even, like, the story, like, that alone is interesting to me to just see her. Because of the arc, she became very beloved. She should have been beloved at the beginning. I get it, I guess. It's a kid's show, right? That's what they, when they first started out, it's a kid's show, and then they're like, season 1's over. We're gonna go ahead and start beheading people, right? Right, exactly. So
we're gonna put Obi-Wan in a big rock crusher.
Right. Yeah. It's when some people are like, I even saw it recently, or Star Wars was like, watch the kids shows, and then Clone Wars came out. I'm like, no, it's like, don't do that. I don't know, just in Star Wars and even out of Star Wars, just to kind of see, I guess because, like I was saying, because of the arc, I think that's pretty interesting. Like Ahsoka's always one, and especially with the show, like how is she gonna end, kind of thing, like, or does she end, right? Do we go back to Mortis, and is that her fate there, right? Like, revisit that arc kind of thing, right? So it's very interesting. I really enjoy her a ton, because I really feel she's like the purest form of what a Jedi should be. She really encompasses all of it. Because you look at some of these other guys, and maybe way to the book, kind of thing, and I don't know. Sometimes too much structure in things, which I guess you could see in the Jedi Order, kind of part of the reason it kind of fell too is part of that overstructuredness that we saw in the movies, right? So yeah, long story short, Ahsoka's pretty dang cool. I like her, so
love that,
and I like the actresses who portray her too. So that also helps.
So. I love how you said actresses and didn't leave anybody out, because they all are so wonderful at bringing that character to life.
That's right. And didn't skip a beat either with the live action. So Asher did an amazing job. She did an amazing job, like bringing the character to life, like actually as a character, and then to see the live action with Rosario that was really cool. It was like, whoa, like
And
yeah.
Ariana.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
forget Greenblatt.
Yeah. Her too.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm sure she's gonna get a bigger role from what we've been seeing. I don't like speculating
hope
until we
so.
see it on the
I
screen,
really
right?
hope so.
Because I don't want to get disappointed. That's why I don't like have headcanon anymore. It's like I'm not gonna get disappointed. I'm good. I've seen what it does.
We
just
are
gonna
supposed
wait.
to see Anakin again.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Because Hayden's
But
supposed to be coming
confirmed.
back.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was watching over Ahsoka at the end.
Yeah.
That was such a beautiful moment too.
Yeah.
Well, and to
Yep.
risk speculation a little bit, nothing has been announced.
Only
But-
Dante can speculate though.
Nope. I refuse.
But well, I'm
The
just
speculating questions are for Dante only. We're gonna hear his wild, where
Nope.
they're gonna go.
well, I'm just to tie it into Rebel Scum Con and Sam Witwer's impending presence, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying it right now. There ain't no way he's not playing the son in Ahsoka
Right?
season 2.
I mean,
That's happening,
that's
right?
what-
Like it, Anyway,
Yeah.
That's
See,
that's
I've
what
seen
we
a few
thought
things
we
on
were
that, and I'm
getting-
like, we'll see. I hope
That's-
I have a
it
great
just-
surprise.
that's what we thought was getting announced at Celebration. Like genuine.
You would think, right?
Because
Yeah.
we weren't hinted at. We weren't saying, hey, go, be on the lookout. There's something coming. Like his agency, nobody, not him, said anything. I mean, we were able to assume that he's at Celebration. Ahsoka season 2 is coming up.
Right.
What's his name?
Well,
Balin Skull is standing
Oh,
on the
yes.
statue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of
Yep.
the Mortis gods. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, there's going to be some kind of Mortis tie-in. We already went to the World Between Worlds in Season 1,
Yep.
and Sam Witwer's the son, who is loosely almost based off of his likeness. I mean, it kind of looks like an animated Utapawan kind of interpretation on Starkiller. And, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't he be? But then for them to, like, gotcha in, like, the coolest way possible with a mall show? No way.
Yeah, no one. That was on no one's
No one
radar.
saw that
That's
coming.
the weirdest thing ever. Like that was the best kept secret. and I
Surprised
don't
in
know
the
how
best
they did
way.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I never thought we would get, but I am so happy that it is
Yeah.
happening.
Oh yeah.
But
And-
go ahead.
No, you're good.
All right. Well, I was just gonna say, speaking of the Sun and Maul, and speaking of villains, so I'm gonna go to Dante first for this one. Who is your favorite villain?
Oh, I mean it's Maul. I mean he
There you
hooked
go.
me in with that Velcro wallet, and it was a wrap after that, man. It was like
That's awesome.
I really thought you were gonna point to yourself and say Chimere.
oh yeah, Kymer's a good one. I really enjoyed him. I don't have enough time with him to say he's my
I
favorite
know,
yet, but
he is a good
hopefully
He was
we
such a
will
good villain.
eventually down the road, and I hope not in a book. Even if it's animated, I'm cool with
Something.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I
so
need more Stranger.
interesting. The whole different dynamics he has. Like, what is his like past? Like, that's like the biggest thing with me. I'm like, I want more. Like, even I don't even want to see his end. I just want to see why he became like that. But anyways, that's not about Maul.
But yeah,
yes.
tell us why you love Maul.
Big Chimere fan though.
Yeah.
But no, that would be if recency bias was in my answer. That would be probably my most recent favorite villain. But he's not even a villain if you think about it from a certain point of view, right? So, anyways,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it
anyways.
when you hit him with a certain point of view.
Right. I mean, some would call him the Sith, right? He's not even bad. See,
Supposedly.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe.
But anyways, I don't know. Maul, he's really been a staple throughout. It's kind of weird saying it because like you kind of get like think in the movie it's like, all right, cool guy, kind of gets cut down. Boba Fett. He's a Boba Fett guy. He's just gonna look cool, and that's all we're gonna get from him. And then to just see him like again, and like I mean, he didn't even really. I mean, he what 1-2 line. He had a very small talking, so all you had to go off of him was, oh, he looks cool, right? But then you get him in the Clone Wars, and it's you know, your whole, and then Rebels, and then now this, right? At Solo, you get a little bit there. Like, I like fell out my seat when I saw him. So I was like, hold on, wait, huh? Like, what are we doing here? I mean, I knew, but like, how did he get there, kind of thing, right? Like, it's so interesting with him. I don't know. He also too his like fall from grace and like #1 hater energy. I love that. Like, he's had like so many peaks in his like time. Like it could have been it, right? It's like after taking out Obi-Wan's. I forgot her name off the top of my head. I'm just so like getting into it. Her lady friend. Damn, Bobby,
Satine.
remind me.
Satine.
Satine. The Duchess
Yeah,
Satine.
sorry,
Yep.
Satine
Yeah.
Kryze.
Yeah. I was trying to like do the whole name. I was like, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. After he took out Duchess, I feel like, hey, we're even there, man. Like, kind of eye for eye, but he wanted the whole thing. He wanted the whole enchilada. So,
Yeah, I agree with you there.
it's so
They
weird.
were
He had so
beyond
many
even after
peaks.
Satine.
Yeah, he had so many peaks in life, but he was like, nah, this is the end. Like, there's like I had everything taken away from me in my original goal.
More than.
Yeah, everything. Like, I think it's interesting, and I don't think I'll ever go that far and be a number one hater of anybody, but I understand it though. I understand, like, man, I really hate this guy. Like, kind of,
Yeah, he does.
He's an on-site kind of guy. So, no, I mean, in all seriousness though, that part, it's just I like talking about it just like in regular terms, right? Just like, wow, it's a very interesting way to go about certain things after I don't know, but now I'm rambling. But Maul's the guy, and then like again, like even like I was talking about the actors of it, right? Ray Park did an amazing job on portraying. I was even really happy to see him, like, what was it in the last season, the fight with Ahsoka, him like reprise that back. That's pretty dang cool.
That was awesome.
And then Sam just really making the character of Maul just in general, like, I just want to shake his hand. Like, I don't know if I want to. I mean, I'd love to like talk with him, probably not in like an interview format, because he's just a treasure trove, or a holocron, as he so rightly corrected everybody, especially Will of course. He's just this treasure trove of information, and I'd feel very intimidated going, like, I mean, not even head to head, just being like, let's just talk in general, right? But yeah, I just have a big appreciation just for everything, the character arcs, the actors, and everything around them. So, and the merch is always great for Maul. So you can't go wrong with red and black. But
they had you with the wallet back in 1999.
That little $10 wallet, man, and I've hooked ever since.
Or red, black, and a yellow outfit, because we finally got the Hot Toy concept Maul from the Sith training gear outfit. We're using that yellow outfit with the weird neck fringes.
Yeah.
Such an awesome look for that character. And I mean, I'm over here like, okay, 3/3 had that one for a while. Hot Toys just got him. Hasbro, come on, where's that Black Series at?
They usually come in waves. You're right. So
bring us the Black Series. But all right. So Bobby, who is your favorite villain of all time?
My favorite.
Is it Revan?
It's not.
Oh, okay.
My favorite villain in Star Wars is Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, there it is. Cool.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Cool.
Yeah. He is such a good villain, and it's crazy because like I barely see him as a villain. He's only very, very marginally a villain, and that's especially it's like towards the latter half of his career. Yeah. And in the Empire, like in the earlier points of his career, I don't see any version of him that could be or should be considered a villain. But it's like now that we have that physical portrayal, seeing him return in Ahsoka after such a long hiatus, after such a damning defeat by Ezra. Now I see him as the villain. Now he is the villain that Zahn created for the Heir to the Empire trilogy. Now he is truly a character worthy of being in the position of the ruthless leader of the Empire that we saw in Heir to the Empire. Because when I read those trilogies, like, man, that guy's like really great. He just so calculating at taking the rebels apart. The way he just sees these connections through art and culture is just so cool and unique. And then, but then like seeing his and like at that point it was just that's all it was. But then like when Zahn got to go back and do the first Thrawn trilogy, and you understood the character's true motivations. Well, I guess not even then. I guess Outbound Flight was really where we got kind of that side of Thrawn the first time. So yeah, Outbound Flight, which actually fits in with that first Thrawn trilogy super well. That's just because Zahn's a great writer. And I loved seeing that side of him. It's like, man, okay, yeah, this is an empire I can get behind. This is really cool. Like, yeah, how dare these rebels try to tear this apart? But now it's like, wow, he's really a bad guy. And it's to see how he can still be super cool and a guy that you wanted to almost root for at first, and now be like the big grand designer of this giant war theater that's about to come to a galaxy far, far away. You guys have no idea. I'm so excited. Because Thrawn's back. He is back, and we're gonna see some grand plans. Because he's a grand plans guy. And that's
a big picture through a lot of small picture stuff, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And it's very, very Star Wars. That's why I also love him, because again, talking about why I love Star Wars so much and like looking at it as like this big beautiful picture, that's also how Thrawn is as a villain. He's a big picture type character, and like everything he does is on such a big scale, and I think that's just so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, Thrawn is a popular answer to favorite villain, but I'm always curious where people come down on it, because there seems to be, there's a lot of debate among Star Wars fandom about everything, but especially when it comes to Thrawn, there are people seem to fight about it more than anything else as to whether or not Thrawn is a hero or a villain. But I like that take on it, that they're not ignoring the tie-in novels with the story that they're telling. It's that Thrawn has been, we have to remember, he's been out in the middle of nowhere for about 10 years, living in failure, surrounded by witches and apparently zombies.
Yep.
So he's probably not going to be a really happy, cheery, potentially honorable guy when he comes back. He's probably going to be out for blood.
Yep.
So I like that. That's a cool take.
And
I have something to say.
I get why some people would see him as a hero. I do, but at the same time, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Thrawn is not a hero. He's the hero in his own story, but Thrawn, and he, like a lot of great villains, especially in Star Wars, he started off with the best and noblest of intentions, but like a lot of great villains in Star Wars, Count Dooku, for example, he lost what he was going for along the way. You know, something broke inside him as a character, and when he broke bad, he stayed bad, and that's because, I mean, well, you can't necessarily destroy the dark side with the dark side now, can you?
There you go. You can't fight evil with evil. But so we've had the big takes, right? Favorite hero, favorite villain. Now for something completely different. We'll start with Bobby on this one. Who is your favorite random alien background character, what the internet would call your favorite glup shitto?
Another glup shitto mention.
We love mentions of
it. That always gets me so excited. See, now, like, with this, eventually, like, Disney can't ignore glub shitto.
It's got to be a thing.
Shitto canon. Like, too much of the fandom now just loves glub shitto. He's got to be real. Okay, favorite random alien, Ben Quadraneros.
Love that.
Ben
Fantastic
Quadraneros,
answer.
because he's just a random, goofy alien, and for some reason, 4 pods on a pod racer has just stuck with me for the rest of my life. And but he's also somehow one of the greatest pod racers of all time, which I also think is just absolutely ridiculous, which is part of why the character just resonates with me as just favorite random alien.
Love it. Give us episode 1 Racer 2 and make Ben Quadraneros like the protagonist or something, or the main villain. I don't know. Do it.
No, give
games
us the
make it
visions
happen.
of that.
Oh, there you go. Better.
The real Shadow Lord.
I'd be about it. Yeah, give us the whole visions on him. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. All right, well, Dante, same question. Who's your favorite Glup Shido?
See, it was Dex for the longest time. Because why?
That's a good one.
Because why? And how did he become buddies with Obi? Like, there's so many questions.
Yeah.
Why does he have a 50s diner?
It's a story for another time.
Like, it's so awesome. But it was very soon in the Jedi Survivor game, Turgle. Very random.
There you go.
Why is there a space frog? And why is he so cool? And
like
why is he such a
monkey
craphead?
Space frog.
Yeah.
Sock monkey space frog.
Yeah, right.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
awesome, though. It's awesome. I forgot who voice acts him. Great.
Invader Zim.
Amazing. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Invader Zim.
Yeah.
It's
It was
the same guy.
great. I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, this guy's awesome. I was hoping a side mission with him or something. Nope, but that's okay. I'm okay. We're getting a figure of him, so cool. All right, we're good. And he's gonna be like, I don't know if I should get multiples just to be like really part of the meme, right? But I don't know. Yeah, I'm big on him. So.
The best Glup Shidos don't make any sense.
Yeah, no
It's
sense.
just like, I don't know what that is, but I love it. He
Yeah.
looks terrible, and I love him. That's the best ones. But all right, so now to steer back into a maybe more like serious question, starting with Bobby on this one. What color would your lightsaber be if you had a Jedi weapon?
Purple.
There you go. Love it. No hesitation. That's awesome. What about you, Dante?
I'll go white.
Cool.
I thought it's pretty dang cool in live action. I mean, it looked great. Obviously, it looked great in the animated, but live action, like seeing that was great. And then I ended up getting one of those sabers from the Disney parks, and I got one of those. Like, oh, this is cool. Like,
Yes.
and then, how much cooler would that be if it gets bled? Right? Like, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, see, I mean, I guess we're talking about Acolyte, right? We're going back.
There you go.
Going back to that, like seeing that live action of the bleeding of a lightsaber, like the physical bleeding of a lightsaber, pretty dang awesome. I mean, we saw it with Dagongera, in same game, right? But like seeing it in live action is a little bit different, and they both were like so interestingly different too. The bleeding of those two is like, this guy's like, I'm mad as hell, and
Yeah,
then,
he went straight for the saber. He's like, I'm
he's
taking
like,
care of this. I'm awake. I'm taking care of this right now, so people know.
Yeah.
And then he fought Cal.
Exactly.
Hey,
And
hang on, I gotta
Acolyte,
take care of something real quick.
right. And then like the Acolyte, it was interesting because it was on accident. She was just it was an action that she had to make, out of anger, at that point, right? And
right, I mean, watching her wrestle with it.
Yeah.
But
it was like the right thing to do,
itself.
unfortunately. Like, as weird as it is to say, with how great Soul was, like he kind of created that whole situation, right? So,
not kinda.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, he had some help.
It was a team. It was a team screw up, but
he had some help. But he was over here trying to find his own adventure and something that didn't seem very noble, right? But anyways, white would be it between it looking cool and then could you imagine a white lightsaber getting bled? Pretty dang. The optics on that will look cool. Will they turn pink at a certain point? Who knows? Like,
cool.
Yeah.
I've never really. Have we seen a white lightsaber get bled?
I don't. Yeah, no. That's even more of a reason I.
Yeah.
Love it, right?
At least not that we know of. I mean, is it in the realm of possibilities? Could it have happened at some point during the greater Star Wars timeline? The odds are good.
Yeah.
But is that how you get a pink saber?
Have we seen an example of it physically? Not that I can say. Not in any kind of print or the opposite. Yes, the opposite. Yes, because Ahsoka did it in the Ahsoka book, right?
Yeah,
because that's how we know she got her white sabers in the first place. But I can't think of an example of the opposite. Maybe eventually.
Maybe eventually,
point, right?
Maybe.
Ahsoka season 2. I hope not, because it would probably be Ahsoka's sabers, and I like it.
Yeah, like what if Balin or Shin just grabs them?
Yeah, that would be terrible.
That actually is like the closest possibility we can get to it, though. Now thinking about it, wow, that's
also Shin Hati is Asajj Ventress's daughter.
Whoa!
Season 2.
Whoa, heyo.
Is that a hope or a prediction?
That's been a little fan theory, of mine since season 1, because her age. Follow me here. Her age lines up. She would be about the right age physically to be the daughter of Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress, because we know they have a child because of the book Dark Disciple, right?
Oh my gosh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's blonde. She's very
Okay.
pale. She's at least human presenting, which being a Dathomirian Zabrak, and also Morgan Elsbeth, who was a Night Sister on Dathomir, was more human presenting.
Yeah.
And Baylan Skoll, being a former member of the actual Jedi Order, likely crossed paths with Quinlan or Kenobi, or well, more likely Quinlan at some point during the Jedi path, right? And with Quinlan and a bunch of Jedi scattering across the galaxy, it's more likely that someone like Quinlan would probably try to leave his child in the safety of somebody else rather than try to keep his child with him, because again, they're Jedi and they're being hunted, and for his child to be safest, he would probably need to be the furthest from it as possible, because they're going to hone in on him more likely than they're going to hone in on the child, right?
Yeah.
So there's also that. Timeline kind of works. Baylan was being a knight in the Jedi Order and being of questionable morals, because he's a mercenary, right? His lightsaber is more red presenting, a little bit on the orange part, but a little bit more red presenting. And Quinlan being more of a kind of rogue-ish Jedi, he skirted the line of what a Jedi should be doing within the Order, because he was working in the underworld sectors a lot. He was doing a lot of undercover kind of work. I mean, when we first see his character ever in Star Wars, it's in The Phantom Menace. It wasn't even originally intended to be a Jedi character. It wasn't until later that was retconned, that the character sitting randomly in Mos Espa and that street diner or whatever was Quinlan Vos. But they did make that character Quinlan Vos. So we know he worked in the CD Underground, being familiar with going to like Nar Shaddaa and Nal Hutta, like in the Clone Wars, because he got teamed up with Obi-Wan to pursue Zero the Hutt because of that reason. And it would be more likely that someone like Quinlan and Baylan Skoll would have been Jedi who had been associated with each other, or might have had some kind of relationship somewhere in passing, since they have similar kind of roguish personalities, you could say. Which would make sense as to if he's likely to let his offspring train with another Jedi, it would likely be somebody that he knows or knew at one point and would have similar values to himself, which Baylan Skoll likely would, based off of how his character was presented in the series, given that with all of the appearance of Shin Hati and, again, her age, while it's not an exact, it could fit, it's the puzzle pieces I have are very, very, very close if Lucasfilm decides to make them fit that way.
It's possible.
It's within the realm of possibilities.
So we're telling you there's a chance.
There is a chance.
Don't set me up for disappointment.
Don't be disappointed.
I've heard that. Like I've heard it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna look deep into it. And you said, I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. But I'm just like,
it's like
gonna
you're
hurt
seeing,
me, but it's
like,
not.
You're like, man, it really does actually make a lot of sense. There's like all of the red strings that I feel like I'm Charlie Kelly, and it's always sunny right now.
I was gonna say, look, no, listen, Carol. I got it. That's awesome.
There's no Carol here. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, so hard transition. I do like that theory, though.
Thank you.
But we'll start with Bobby on this one. Yeah, but it's possible. It's canon until it's not.
Sure.
So, and this is something that someone could remedy at Rebel Scum Con. Shameless plug. But if you could have a Star Wars tattoo, what would it be?
Well, I know what mine's totally going to be, because the other founders and I have already discussed, as soon as we were able to have tattoos available at Rebel Scum Con, it was going to be our strike logo. So that awesome little blast that's coming at an angle down on all of our... Yeah, we call that the strike.
Cool.
It's definitely going to be that. Other than that...
Where? What placement?
Oh,
on
I'm
your
thinking
ankle?
No, I'm thinking like upper shoulder.
You're going all in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I like symbols for tattoos. That's my preference for me.
Yeah.
So like with us already discussing it, it's like already really cool. and I've already got one. I've got a Decepticon symbol center on my chest.
Oh, do you?
Like,
Cool.
yeah, you didn't know that?
I never knew that. Wow,
Oh,
we've known each other for a while. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Well,
Huh.
I mean, I've only had it for like a couple of years now.
Wow.
But yeah. So yeah, definitely want to get a strike on either shoulder. But then I was thinking something maybe battle droid related, like maybe like a Roger kind of like war tattoo type style thing, maybe with like an E5 or something, or I don't know. I'm still playing around with what exactly, but I definitely want to do something battle droid related.
You should get all 140 variants tattooed.
40
Or like an I don't know, some type of symbol or initials for every single one of them.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
That sounds like I'm making fun of you.
many.
I'm not. I just think
No,
it's so cool.
that would be
That would
like
Take like
Duke
a whole
said.
sleeve.
right. That'd be really cool actually. Just
That's
like
awesome.
straight down. Yeah.
There are too many.
Right on. But Dante, same question. You could have a tattoo. What would it be?
Yeah. It's so funny because the stars are aligning, but it's really not. Because part of working the con is that you probably can't get the full thing you want.
Oh gosh.
Especially being the social media guy, I kind of need to
Yeah.
keep on it, especially for next year, stuff like that. But when I was able to, because I'm in a group chat with Mark and one of the other partners, Kentucky, so I knew like the whole scoop. When Mark, who set up this whole thing, Mark Draven, with Ink Fusion Empire, he's like, oh yeah, I'm bringing out Paul Marino. I was like, why? I was like, yes, and I was like, why? Like,
What do you mean why?
yeah, it was a very short-lived like, hooray, but crap, I probably can't get what I want from him because I've been following him for years, and I'm like, yeah, color realism. That's exactly like if I'm gonna put something on my body, it's what I want. I want it like in a kind of a tribal placement of like not tribal style, but the placement of like pec to maybe half sleeve. But I wanted like all like villains. I think it'd be pretty interesting, but I want to like the big one for me, probably more the centerpiece, probably be like a Clone Wars Maul, or even a Rebels Maul actually. Rebels Maul would be kind of really interesting, right? Or maybe like the different like stages of Maul, like just on like just one. That'd be pretty cool, right? That's what I've been envisioning, like that Grievous, Anakin, Darth Vader, more the Darth Vader part of Anakin before he gets in the suit. Those are like the big three that I was like kind of envisioning, kind of like a big mural between, my body, where that would be. So yeah, it's very sad. It was very happy moment, a very sad moment. So maybe I'll just get on his books then, but we'll see. He's not that far. He's in Colorado, but all of them are amazing. But like Paul, I've been following here for a while, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Never did it, and maybe I might start my part of my sleeve there. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. But yeah.
I mean, hey, that would be good social media like content.
Yeah.
You get like a picture of like the tattoo as it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you to do what you do, but anywho.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're not wrong. So, yeah, no.
I was thinking that too.
I've been thinking about like a kind of an origin story of like, yeah, it's finally happening kind of thing. But
That'd be cool.
We'll see. We'll see where the stars line.
We're live streaming my tattoo. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But so
just crying.
No,
that would be the bit,
That's
right?
like the weirdest thing.
I
Like,
don't think you
but all right.
Yeah,
so totally different thing.
Yeah, because I've had more painful things in my life. Like I've had ankle surgery to take out a tumor, and then like I had it. There was like a point where I wasn't taking the painkillers, and it felt like bone. It was like falling off the bone. So I was like, that's probably the most excruciating pain that I've like been through. And then I had shingles at like 22, and that shooting, I was like, okay, I don't think anything beats those two. I just think it might be like the time sitting there might probably be the worst part of it, just being,
That will be. Yeah. It's really just the sitting still for a really, really long period of time that's the worst of it. The pain, at least for me, the pain itself wasn't bad. I got mine center on my sternum.
I gotta see this.
That's crazy.
You want me to show you right now?
Oh no, don't do it right now. But
we'll show you right now?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Hey,
You know what?
If you're cool with it, yeah.
I'll show you right now.
I've never
Luckily,
seen
it's
that.
like
Tattoo
perfectly
reveal.
positioned. Like,
Oh, cool.
with,
Oh, yeah, I had no idea.
it's not
cool.
filled in
Like
yet.
the Iron Man placement. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
super
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah, thank you. And it wasn't bad. I mean, I still got to get it filled in, but no, it wasn't bad. I mean, I just laid there for 3-4 hours, and then no, it was like 2 or 3 hours.
It was 3-4 for that. Oh
was 2
boy,
or 3.
I can only imagine what mine would take then.
I just laid there for like 2 or 3 hours, and then
Yeah.
it was done. I mean, it felt like what people usually describe it as like a really long cat scratch. It's kind of like that, but I mean that also implies like they're dragging through your skin like a cat does, and it's not like that. It's just like, I don't know. It does sting a little, but it's not that bad, or at least it wasn't for me. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be able to do it.
We'll see.
Right on.
We'll see what I can do, but yes, we'll see.
Well, now for something completely different.
Okay.
Steering back into like I guess the more personal, like your relationship to Star Wars. Starting with Dante on this one.
Ooh.
What is your favorite Star Wars story?
Oh.
I don't know. It really. I mean, I think I spoiled it with kind of Maul. I probably should just said Maul, and that was it. I don't like. Just his whole arc is very interesting to me. I mean, obviously there's a lot of different arcs within him in general, which very thankful for all. That's the reason why he's my favorite. But I don't know, just like it was a very small rise, I guess you could say. But the rise and fall and rise again and fall, like he's had so many just like, I mean, and that's real for some people, right? Of like, cool, I'm Cloud 9, and then now back in the mud. All right, I got back in the mud. I mean, his was kind of more due to, his obsession with Obi-Wan, but I think that's all very interesting. Like his whole character arc, and the fact we even get to get even more of it is even more awesome now. But yeah, I couldn't pick like one arc. It was just like, wow, like that's always very interesting to me when I think about Maul. Just he had it all. Like there's like multiple times where he's had it all, and then it just goes away, and it's very, it's very interesting to think about, like kind of like when you put it outside of Star Wars, but that's fine.
If you've seen, just to comment on that, if you've seen the kind of like infamous Freddie Prinze Jr. Star Wars rant, I don't know what podcast it was on.
One?
It went all over YouTube. Well, well, where he says all kinds of things. But one of the things he says about Maul is that Maul is Sisyphus from Greek mythology, that like he's doomed to roll the boulder up the hill just for it to roll back down, and that he knows that's who he is, but that's his role. He's gonna keep trying no matter what.
It's just so you're right. That even that story to me was very interesting. I never like connected the two together, but that's you never think about someone getting the glory and then just falling to grace, right? And then doing it again and again. So
Love it. Cool answer. Bobby, same question. What is your favorite Star Wars story?
My favorite Star Wars story. That's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Like, so many good ones, right?
Well, I mean, but it's like, which way do I go with it? Do I go... I mean, I am more of a big picture guy, so I guess I'd probably say something more big scale. I'd say it's probably just the story of the Clone Wars itself.
Cool.
And just
that
can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's like, it's wild that there was such a big galactic war, right? One of the biggest and bloodiest galactic wars seen ever. And it was all instigated really by one guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Gosh.
And that's what's so crazy is like something so large scale was so heavily influenced and maintained by just Palpatine. And just like the heroes and villains that we saw rise and fall from that. And the heroes that we saw turn into some of the worst villains ever after becoming some of the greatest heroes ever, specifically Anakin, or how he took people that could have been great heroes or great champions of the Republic, like Count Dooku, and turned them into some of their biggest adversaries and most dangerous villains. Yeah. Because what did Dooku really do other than help lead a big war effort against the Republic, other than completely change how the galaxy looked at the Jedi Order, you know? because Palpatine and manipulating Dooku's pain took one of their greatest Jedi, one of their most powerful Jedi masters, and made him one of their worst villains. And kept them completely distracted while he did everything he wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's just, and then, you know, just to see all the other just cool battles and stuff too also makes it nice.
Yeah.
We never would have got otherwise without that show. Like, yeah.
Yep.
Which is so insane to think. Like, people just had movies and that's it.
And
like,
we never would have gotten without Jar Jar Binks, because if he hadn't given Palpatine that political power, that little boost he needed,
that's right.
No clones. So no clones means no stormtroopers, means no original trilogy. You're welcome, Jar Jar haters. You're welcome.
Right, that's right.
You have Jar Jar to thank for the OT.
It all revolves around Jar Jar.
So here, actually, I'm gonna spin that before we move on.
Oh yeah.
Now, because I kind of spoiled mine earlier, talking too much about Maul, but like there was there's another part we were on, Died in the Force, and they were pretty cool in asking like, give us your pitch, and I was randomly thinking about that today. And my pitch would be, give us a Palpatine series, but like each season is like what he was doing in between the episodes. Like, that'd be cool. So like, well, the first season would be, you know, obviously him with Plagueis, like how that happened, how the rise happened.
Yeah.
But then after that, 1, 2, 3, even 4, 5. Actually, we can go all of them. Actually, you think about it, what were you doing, bro? Like, that's like the biggest thing I want to know. Like, how, like, to Bobby's point, it's like one guy did this all. I mean, and you know, he had to do a lot of manipulating and things of that sort for them to go in action and to actually happen. But I want to see it. Like, that's kind of crazy just to think. Not saying like I don't believe it, but I just want to see like the mastermind at work, you know. And then also, shameless plug before that season 1, let's go ahead and get a Chimera series to finish that up, since we saw Plagueis anyways. And then they'd be like, hey, there's actually a whole series that's gonna happen. You know, Sidious Palpatine, you know, whatever you want to call it, right? I mean,
hey, I'm in.
Yeah, that would be the pitch, honestly. It has to be both parts though. You got
Tales of the Dark Side.
Yeah, because it kind of gives that Chimera series would kind of give a small origin story to Plagueis too, since he's a little bit different from the non-canon, the never canon version of of the story that we got, which is great, by the way. I don't want to shame that, but just kind of a reminder for people.
Not to cheapen how awesome that story really was.
Yeah, very awesome story.
It was even back then never what was part of what's called G canon, which for those who forgot the canon breakdown pre-Disney buyout, G canon was always at the very top, and G canon stands for George. And as much as we love Plagueis, as much as Plagueis is mentioned in G canon, the novel Plagueis nor was it ever officially part of G canon, and was always and will always be subject to change because of that fact. As
100%.
much as we love the story, and as awesome as the story is, it was never a part of it to begin with.
I only, it's funny that G canon, I came across a meme, which I still need to send you, of just in general of the was it Robot Chicken skit that George Lucas did, and someone asked about Mara Jade. And he was like, get
this guy out of here! Get out!
And that brought me to like a rabbit hole of that.
Seth Green's just sitting there like, I'm so sorry, George. But it was like a whole funny thing that they did.
He probably loved that too. He's like, this is actually what I'm feeling, but they're gonna think it's a joke. So yeah, that G canon. I don't know. That, like I said, not cheapening the product. It's a great story and all.
Amazing story.
I just see the opposite happen a lot.
Never truly.
Yeah, I see the opposite happen a lot of trying to cheapen what is canon now with stuff that was never canon. It just very annoys me. Head canon's great, but it's not everyone's canon.
It's not ours.
So, it's not or the official canon like at that. Right. So yeah,
this is a whole. Oh, sorry. This is a whole other rabbit hole, but this is something I have encountered so much since starting this podcast, just on Twitter and other places online. There's a whole contingent of Star Wars fans that are convinced that the old expanded universe was masterminded by George Lucas. and it was his story, and it's like
Yeah,
that's so not the case at all, like in any way, and it boggles my mind.
Yeah.
I'm
and there's a lot of
baffled.
interviews out there showing that he openly says it too. He's like, well, it's great. I think of it as like an alternative universe, and I'm like, guys, here it is right here. This is not, because I hate when it's like, oh, they're going back to George Lucas's Star Wars. Like, no, bro, it's not even his Star Wars. Like, what are you talking about? Like, anyway,
100%. 100%.
I can get on a soapbox about that, but anyway.
But
even at that, I still don't want to cheapen any of the EU stories.
No.
There were some great ones. There was a lot of ones, but the great ones we did get were awesome. And they're great. I mean, I guess this is a plug then. We do have Mara Jade coming. The only person portrayed Mara Jade. She will be there. That's pretty cool. We talk about like all eras, right? That's definitely one that I was pretty excited. I didn't even think about. I was like, oh, she's available, kind of thing. So
and also for the fans at home who think George Lucas doesn't like Legends or Mara Jade, that decision, her being the official Mara Jade, was done way pre-Disney. And if George Lucas truly did not like the character, he would have shut that down.
Oh yeah.
The second somebody brought the idea up, like, hey, we should have an official an official person for this character. No, I don't think so. I don't think I would want that. He would have said something like that immediately, and it would have been it just wouldn't have happened. So we're really excited that did happen, and that Shannon McRandall is in fact Mara Jade for not just us, but all of the Star Wars fans ever, and it's amazing. And hopefully one day maybe we'll get to see her in an actual project and not on just the cover of a book. I mean, because that would just be the dream, right? Because I want to see Mara Jade in Star Wars too. I love that character a lot. But we are very excited to hang out with her at Rebel Scum Con.
What if we get her in the new trilogy? That'd be interesting to get. I don't need the whole story. Maybe just her, like her creating a whole new story based on. I mean, I could see there being flack on it, but the character is canon at that point. The character's canon at that point, though, and if you take a lot from it, which I feel like has been done very tastefully. With some of the things that come from EU, Legends, whatever you want to call it. If it's done right, I feel like it could give the character justice, but again, it won't be... I mean, George didn't even really like, the kind of the Luke-Mara dynamic in general, right? So it's like...
That's true.
That would be fun, to be like, well, he didn't like that story, so let's tell... I mean, because obviously it wasn't enough for him to shut it down. Like, let's give a spotlight for this character that's so beloved, but maybe in a different way, so... I mean, it'd be a big risk, though, but it would be interesting.
It's funny you're saying that, because it's almost seemingly what they're doing with Maul and Shadow Lord with this. What could be maybe a Darth Talon or Darth Talon inspired character.
Yeah, maybe
that we saw in that trailer. So to that point, I guess we could see how that possibly work.
Yeah, well, it's the famous story that apparently you talk about George never really just caring about the EU, wanting to let them do their own thing. I don't know where this came from, but apparently this happened. That George was walking through Lucasfilm, and somebody, I think it was Hot Toys, was giving a presentation on some of the figures that they had coming, and there was a Maul figure on the counter and a Darth Talon figure as well, and George just kind of wandered into the room, grabbed them, put them next to each other, and said, "They're friends." And somebody else is like, that's not, there's like 100 years in between their story. I don't care. And left. and I'm sure it's not that silly, but he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, I see the visual similarities. That's his apprentice. Great. Done. That's my headcanon. And he walked away. And as we know, eventually fiddled with those ideas for whatever his sequel trilogy was going to be. And many of those ideas ended up on Clone Wars. But yeah, it's just, Anyway, but I would love to see a canon version of Mara Jade. I think it's such a cool character. Just the concept is cool, free from even any Luke Skywalker stuff.
Yes.
I loved the old Legends, old EU, but there's no reason you can't just kind of reshuffle it.
Right. I love what it brought to Star Wars, and I love what a lot of creatives are doing with it currently, inspired off of it, because it's. I mean, it's not. It never left. It's still there. And yeah, it's kind of a foundational baseline for some creatives, but not always in the way that creatives think. Like, because a lot of creators just look at some of the new stuff Disney puts out and they go, oh, they didn't do what they did previously in the EU. I don't like it. Because they didn't use it as a baseline for that project. But sometimes they do, just in the opposite. They use it as a baseline of what not to do with the story going forward, because while there's a lot of great parts and a lot of great characters and concepts within the EU, there was also a lot of parts or
It's true.
not great parts. And that's not to say that somebody shouldn't love those parts or there isn't a fan for those parts, because there is. But that's also not to say that just because someone else, one or two people think it's cool, doesn't mean it fits in the story or it fits in the Star Wars, I guess as we can call it, the sacred timeline, because Marvel did that too. I mean, Star Wars has its sacred timeline just like everything else, but that doesn't mean that the supporting stories around it, even if they aren't part of that timeline, aren't still there.
Yeah.
I think last thing, actually, because I do like what, funny enough, shout out Carly King. She actually be coming to Rebel Scum Con and announced Katie Sackhoff. But one of her videos where she was asking, like, what is Mara Jade? And then, like, this... not even poor, but like I think, I guess for some of the hate, hopefully she's not chronically online, but it's like, oh, she's a legend. She's like of like a fireside chat story kind of thing. She said it very eloquently, like, oh wow, that's a very cool way to think about it. It's like, hey, like if you kind of think about it, all these kind of are, but not in the canon timeline, of course. But like that's how it's a cool way to think of like EU, of like, this is like a tall tale, right? This is like something we've heard, or even as kids. I mean, shoot, I wonder what Skeleton Crew has with the stories that Wim was thumbing through. What tall tales are there, right? Would love to explore those, kind of thing. What kind of truth was in that, right? And I think that's a cool way, like, to think about it like that. And then when you eventually get it, it's like, oh, well, this is the real telling of that tale. I think that could be fun, especially if you think about it like that. Because everyone grows up with like tall tales of like something ridiculous or something over-exaggerated, something of that sort. I think it's actually cooler when you think about it, where it's like, oh, this is a tale that was told for many decades or many millennia, and here's what it is, kind of thing. So that's my last piece on Legends, but I thought that small, like, random interaction that got blown out of proportion on the negative side, but also on the positive side in a good way. I was like, wow, that's an amazing way to think of EU, just as a whole. It actually elevates it for me, at least.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, a great example of that is the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series. The way it's portrayed, so exaggerated, so animated. The Star Wars The Force Unleashed video game is also portrayed that way, just not in the same animation style. They were portrayed in a way that is epic and awesome from the stories you hear about the Jedi or a Force user. Could be, maybe, but... when you're walking around an alien in the galaxy or somebody in the galaxy and they see some feat of strength.
Oh, just keep going. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
So sorry. Give me one second.
You're good. And they see some feat of strength. What are they going to describe it as? Oh, I just saw some Jedi push some dude over. Or are they going to say, man, you should have seen it. This Jedi just waved his hand and caused this mass destruction in front of him. It was crazy. I thought I was going to get wiped out myself or whatever. He deflected all of the blaster bolts from this whole army. You should have been there. That's how the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars story is told. That is the lens in which we are experiencing the Clone War. Because those battles that happened in the Genndy Tartakovsky series, for the most part, still took place within the sacred timeline that I previously mentioned, because they're cited in other canon sources. However, the lens, the depiction in which we see those battles, the super weapon just creating mass craters that are just blowing everything away, probably happened kind of like that, but not exactly visually in that manner. Mace Windu wasn't out there punching apart V2 super battle droids with the Force super quick. He probably knocked a few apart. He probably Force pushed through one so hard that maybe he did knock some chunks off, but he didn't do that to the entire army. because as we've seen the Jedi, they do have limits.
Yeah.
But to a kid or somebody else who sees them as limitless, of course, that's the lens in which it's going to be depicted in, and that's how the Genndy Tartakovsky was portrayed to us. Just because it's portrayed through that lens doesn't mean that's literally how that story takes place. Sometimes it's just cool.
100%.
Right.
Sometimes it's the rule of cool. But as Ahsoka says on Rebels, there's always a bit of truth in legends.
Exactly.
And I like that that's the way they're going to take it going forward.
Right.
Well, fantastic. So I think we know that you guys like Star Wars.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. It's cool.
Well, here and there,
But so
I've seen it once or twice.
just a couple times. The last question before we get into some fun game time to wrap things up. We'll go to Bobby first on this one. I think you kind of said this earlier, but what does Star Wars mean to you?
Star Wars means a lot to me. It's like all of the joys. Just like, it's just so many different joys. Like I associate it with happiness just because like it's some of my earliest, happiest memories that I've ever had, and consistently I've always found a comfort in it. Whether it's a piece I've watched 100 times or 1,000 times over, like Revenge of the Sith, or one of the other favorite movies that I have, or projects, or whether I'm rewatching through another show that I haven't rewatched in a little while. There's just a weird, odd comfort to a galaxy far, far away from me, and it just, I don't know. For me, it's just joy, and I'm gonna
Fantastic answer. I love it.
Yeah,
joy.
awesome.
What about you, Dante? Same thing. What does Star Wars mean to you?
Yeah, for me it was consistency, and not even with like what the story is being told, just it consistently being there. I grew up where things weren't so consistent in general with kind of just different things in life. But I always knew Star Wars was there kind of thing. So it was, at first it was more of like an escapism, like kind of like as the tween teen years in general, especially when it wasn't that cool or whatever, it wasn't the thing back then, which is very funny now that it is. It's weird if you're not a little bit in the Star Wars or haven't heard any of Star Wars. I think that's very funny. A lot of us dealt with kind of, oh, you're a nerd. Whatever, it's cool. It takes me away. I'd rather be in that place far, far away kind of thing. So, consistency, but it ended up turning like consistency and escapism more into like the stuff that we're getting now was kind of like real. I can really relate to a lot of these characters. Kenobi, honestly, Kenobi was a good one just to kind of see. It's kind of weird because like at first, with Vader, you kind of didn't want like a humanization until the end, but then you get a lot of it, especially just in his scene that he had at the end, right? He's still there, kind of thing, but obviously, kind of ended by the end of that kind of thing. But it just, I like how these stories are getting a little bit deeper into just being just space wizards, and I know some people don't like that because of the escapism, but I don't know, I kind of grew up a little bit, and it's fun to kind of get some of the human elements in there, like so that's kind of shifted towards like how I view it now, of why it's more consistent, because now I relate more like Luke, and I'm glad Bobby's not here. I get this is my hot take. Luke wasn't all that great until until The Last Jedi.
Whoa! Hot take. Keep going.
I really think he was like this. Like, I hate the word Mary Sue, but for me, when you literally only look at the movies, just look at the movies, it's like, how did this dude go from crying about getting power converted from Tashi Station to Grand Master, right? It's just like, if you look at just the movies, and I don't, obviously, when I nowadays, I don't. But it was always so puzzling to me. It's like, why is this guy such on a high pedestal kind of thing? He was just some kid, some bratty kid that wanted to get off world. He finally did, and he all of a sudden, it wasn't very realistic to me, which was fine, because again, a lot of it was escapism. But then as I got older, I appreciated it when The Last Jedi came out, because it's like, wow, he's a real person kind of thing, right? You saw a little of his vulnerabilities. Well, a lot of them, like kind of showed like he is human and things of that sort. But I wanted more of it, kind of. I wanted to see like the super vulnerable side of it, like, wow, I think that's a big thing with like, I've lost everything kind of thing, right? Let's did it with Maul, did it here. He had the top, really falls, and then he ends out on the top, with how, you know, he finishes that movie and, you know, going forward. So, yeah, that, I mean, that's what Star Wars means to me. It was just really escape, and then now it's more of like a relatability kind of thing with how they're kind of telling these stories now. That's what's kept it very strong for me. So, yeah.
Right on. Well,
I went through my whole Luke. Luke wasn't all that great until the Last Jedi rant.
Did you talk about how Luke's actually a Mary Sue?
I said I don't like that word, but if people want to use it, I think if you look at just the movies, then
if you look at just the movies,
yeah.
and Luke fits the definition a lot better than Rey does.
Yeah. So, but that's my hot take.
Because if you look at them, because I see you, the gears turning, Matt. If you look at the two of them, look at just A New Hope versus Force Awakens. Which one of them actually has established skill, not talent, skill between the two?
Has established skill?
As established skill.
Well, and see, this is where I'm going to out myself as being on the opposite end of this of you guys.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think that, and I don't think Rey's and Mary Sue, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
But
No, I get you.
I think just because they go out of their way to talk about, like, two different characters that have known Luke's past, talk about how good of a pilot he is.
Right.
Does that explain his ability to run and gun and do all the other stuff? No. But
He's shooting
but
the
he
womp rats,
bumbles
you know?
his
Yeah.
way through that whole movie. He's
Right.
constantly failing, and he gets the Force at the very, very end. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love Force Awakens.
I do too.
But to me...
That's the most viewed movie for me, weird enough. But
Well, yeah,
Really?
it's
a
my
lot,
favorite Disney Star Wars for sure. But to me, Luke is all about... I mean, the first one, he chooses faith. And then the second one, he fails miserably because he... Anyway, whatever. I don't want to go on my whole Luke thing.
No.
He works for me in the original trilogy, but I get it.
Yeah, I get that. Especially Empire and Jedi, when you incorporate those two. But we're only talking about A New Hope, and we're only talking about Force Awakens. So as the two stand, how much as a even just as a pilot, compared to Rey, how much skill would you think he has? Because let's look at what the
he's
context
like book
clues...
smart at that point, right? Like...
No, not even that. Let's look at the context clues of just A New Hope. As far as his piloting skills, the only knowledge, the only type of pilot skill we know he has is in a T-16. Basic, which is essentially the equivalent of a farming cropper pilot, a bush pilot. Hopping into an F-16 and then winning the dogfight, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, and he was a, what's the word? Sheltered moisture evaporator farmer for the majority of his life at that point, because his uncle didn't want him having anything to do with anything outside of living a simple farmer's life on the dunes of Tatooine. Look at Rey. Rey was left on Jakku at Nima Outpost around 7 or 8 years old as a child, abandoned, left by her parents to keep them safe, as we now know later, but with Unkar Plutt, who doesn't have her best interests, only sees her, obviously, as some kind of resource to exploit later. As we now know, she's just a scrapper who's been, from the age of 7 or 8 to when we see her in The Force Awakens, been basically living on her own. We see her living, she made a home for herself in a derelict AT-AT, and which was, from outside sources later, we find out she got her piloting skills from flight simulators while, scrapping and stuff, right? But she's been hands-on on all kinds of different tech for, it's safe to say, decades at that point, because Force Awakens is about 30 years. She's like in her, mid-20s by the time of The Force Awakens. So she's had plenty of time to hone and actually develop her skills. We can see that she can defend herself in hand-to-hand combat without the use of the Force with her bow staff as well. She's been scrapping by herself as a little girl in Jakku for about 2 decades now. So yeah, you kind of
miracle
gotta,
that she's alive at that point, right?
right. So even that is just so much more going towards Rey as a character with foundational skills versus a character who should be considered, or could be considered rather, a Mary Sue, because there's so much subtle detail, so much context clues in The Force Awakens that suggest she isn't. Because, we see her at that point in her life where she's already developed these skills. We didn't see her have to go through part of that journey. So when she's heard tales of the famous Luke Skywalker and other Rebel heroes while dismantling old Imperial and Rebel Alliance tech alike, and pouring through all this information, because what else is she gonna do on a desert planet like Jakku that nobody wants to go back to, but somehow everybody does for some reason. A lot of her skill is developed and earned. So by the end, when she defeats a character like Kylo Ren, who has honed his combat skill, but is also severely wounded because it was a bowcaster bolt, it would make sense for a character like Rey, who's just now budding in the Force, to defeat a character like Kylo because of all of those things.
Her blood helps a little bit with that, but in addition to her actual skill, it's like a street smart versus book smart kind of ordeal if you look at it like that. All that stuff you said, plus a little bit of bloodline she has. Oh yeah, it's almost like she should have. She better have at that point. Like a wounded Kylo Ren who's very emotional. It makes a lot of sense. After the fact. Obviously first watch probably not so much, but once you watch it together, just the movies, not anything else, it makes a ton of sense why she beat him. But yeah.
Yeah, the Rey of it all never really bothered me.
Oh yeah, of course,
but I think I'm interesting. I've never heard anybody call Luke a Mary Sue before, and so now my wheels.
Well, I didn't say it.
Luke is a Mary Sue. He is
well, now hold on.
In A New Hope, he is mostly talent and almost no skill.
Well, but here's what I would say. I think the literal only thing he succeeds at, he shoots down one TIE, and he surrenders to the Force to make the Death Star shot. That's it. You know what I mean? Because outside of that, it's everybody kind of... Oh, and I guess he shoots down a TIE when he's in an X-Wing, and he shoots down a TIE in the turret on the Falcon, right?
While also managing to evade all the turbo laser fire on the biggest, most well-armed battle station in the entire Empire.
That's true, actually.
Which
that's plot armor, but that's fine.
Well, now hold on. As they do, but just to defend my boy for a second, they do say the defenses are made for large-scale assaults. That they're not going to hit small pilots.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
but this is wild. Okay. I've never heard this before, and it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah, and it's not in a malicious way either. That's the funniest part. Yeah, that's the funniest part about it.
It's like, wait, it's because so many people base their opinion on Rey off of the stance that they think she's a Mary Sue, and it's like, oh, Luke is better because of this reason, and it's like, well, Rey's a great character in her own right because of these reasons. Luke was a great character in his own right because of these reasons. Because Luke being a Mary Sue in A New Hope doesn't discount from the fact of the great things that he did, because he did do them for the right reasons. He did the right thing, and he was successful, and that's great. The galaxy needed him. The Force needed him to be, but he still is a Mary Sue in this example, in this specific example, because he just doesn't have the he had no business being in an X-wing cockpit. He didn't.
Sure.
Because again, he basically went from a bush plane to an F-16. He had no business being in an X-wing cockpit. When Han was saying there's a lot more to piloting than, when he was ripping on him early on and calling him a kid, that's because to Han, he really was nothing in terms of piloting, because he was just a cocky kid.
The Nepo Force baby, is that what we're saying?
No, but not necessarily. It's just, he was successful because the Force needed him to be.
Yeah,
not necessarily because of his skill at a pilot, especially when you consider there were veteran pilots dropping like flies during the Battle of Yavin. You know?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bobby,
Well,
we joke
on.
around about that a lot, but I've never heard like the full explanation from you. That's great.
Yeah.
Because we've been pretty aligned on that. Not the Mary Sue part, but just like,
Oh.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna openly say it, but I mean, like, if we have to compare two, you're right. Like, that's how I view it. But I never got the full explanation. So
no opinion in it. If you just look at what a Mary Sue is, I mean, yeah, it lines up. It lines up better in Luke's example in A New Hope than it does for Rey's example in The Force Awakens at the very least. If you want to consider, if you have to label one or the other one, Luke fits the definition better than Rey does, in my opinion.
Well, and all of this is why podcasting is important, because had I seen the tweet, Luke is a Mary Stu, I would have been like,
what? Yeah,
but then to have a discussion and go back and forth. This is the good stuff. This is why we're here. But okay, so we did it. We've done the interview portion, and now it's time for the nonsense games that we like to play.
I like games.
Okay.
2 of these, and then we'll wrap them up. But first, it's time for the ridiculous Rathtar random hard trivia question. The idea is that this is preposterous. This is the type of thing that if you get it, it's like it's impressive, right? But there's no losers here. There's no clowning on anybody, because it's either you get it and it's like, wow, it's impressive, or you don't and you have a life. Congratulations. But to tie into the name Rebel Scum, in the scene from Return of the Jedi, where that officer points the gun at Han and says, "You rebel scum." Right before that happens, Han Solo chucks a toolbox at an Imperial officer and kills him. He falls down in a bottomless pit.
Yeah, he does.
What Lucasfilm legend cameos as that Imperial officer? He says, "Freeze!" And then Han throws a box at him and he falls down the hole. What Lucasfilm legend cameos as that officer?
Huh.
I'm trying to visualize the face now, because I'm better with faces.
I say Bobby might be the only one who gets this one if it even remotely close.
This is really
That's
granular.
so
This is
random.
tiny. This is really small.
This is very... Okay, was this person a behind-the-scenes kind of a person?
Yes,
okay.
A behind-the-scenes person, like a legend at Lucasfilm.
Okay. Artist or writer?
Artist.
Ooh.
That
narrows it down a lot more.
I will say, well, and that's I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, no, you should.
Was not a writer.
Not a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess.
Sure.
This is a guess.
Sure.
I'm gonna guess Joe Johnson. No.
Close though. The same era, obviously same vibe. It's Ben Burtt.
Oh!
The creator of the lightsaber sound, the creator of basically all the iconic Star Wars sounds from the original trilogy that isn't the music. Ben Burtt. Freeze! And then gets hit. I'm sure that's not him. It's probably a stunt guy. But there we go. Okay, so that's the ridiculous Rathtar random hard trivia question.
Well,
I know if it was me, I would have pushed for also being the guy to fall off. Just because it's like,
100%.
no, I want to do both parts. Let me get hit by the lunchbox or the toolbox and go over the rail. I want to be the guy to do the scream.
I don't know, Bobby. With the way Dickie Beer was talking about people just falling, like the Sarlacc, like just breaking bones left and right, I don't know if I want to be a part of that.
That is true.
It's different now. The unions are probably better for stunt performers, but, no
actually,
shade on the 80s, I guess.
Quick plug, actually. You said Ben Burr. I was like, oh, yeah. Everest Autographs, our partner for RebelScum.com, is actually doing a private signing for him. So if anyone needs some Ben Burtt stuff, I don't know if there's a good still shot of that.
Everest Autographs has been killing it in the private signing lately. I mean, they've also had Sam Jackson again, just in time for Revenge of the Sith to be back in screens.
That's cool.
I mean, they had Paul Rudd recently for a private signing. All kinds of cool celebs.
For the people who need stuff, because a lot of those people don't do cons, so it's the only way you can get
and
it. So.
Everest Autographs is our official send-in partner for Rebel Scum Con.
Right on.
So all of the awesome, exciting guests that you are looking forward to meeting, if you already know that you just can't come see them, you're not going to make it out, we do have pre-orders up for the send-in service for autographs for those of you who can't make it in. To if you have, you're just sitting at home and you're like, oh, I really wanted to get my original 99 carded Maul signed, or I really, really wanted to get my original Revenge of the Sith General Grievous because it's the 20th anniversary. You can sign up for that. There's a whole process in which you will send those items in. They will be stored safely and securely and taken care of by Everest, including the facilitation of the signature being added to your item and all that good stuff, the COAs and paperwork that go with that. And when that's all done, you get a nice item back in the mail that's totally signed, and you didn't miss out. At least, not totally.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. But then we hope to see you next year, of course. But if you absolutely can't, if you absolutely can't, yeah, we do have
just
that available.
In case.
So
we did that too.
That was actually, I wasn't even thinking about that plug, but that kind of worked out perfectly. So thank you, Bobby, for finishing that up.
You can also pre-order in-person autographs if you want to go ahead and do that. You don't have to, but you can.
Love that.
That's going to be the next thing that I'm looking at, next paycheck. I'm trying to figure out who all I'm going to prioritize. But okay. Right. So one last game here. So I'm going to have y'all. Do you want to blind rank 5 sidekicks, or you just want to rank 5 sidekicks and debate?
5 sidekicks in Star Wars.
It's like kind of sidekicks, companion characters, just like your favorite to least favorite.
No, I feel like the blind ranking is definitely content.
It is. It's very shameless.
Who did it recently?
The guy that I'm forgetting his name, but the actor that plays Krennic.
Yeah, that was
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah,
yes.
that was a great. Yeah, let's do blind. I'm kind of feeling.
All right,
that.
cool.
So like I'll write down my 5, and then you write down your 5 or something.
Oh no!
no,
so if we're gonna go blind ranking, it's
one at
that
a
I'm
time.
gonna name 5, but I name the first one, and you don't know who else I'm gonna say. You just got to put them 1 through 5.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm down for that. Let's
All right,
do
so
it.
5 sidekicks / companions, and I'll say that I think this sounds fun because we've never done this before. But let's have y'all. Do you want to have your own lists, or do you want to debate and come together?
I say debate and come together. I think that'll work out. Me and Bobby are pretty like-minded, so
I dig it.
I'd actually be interested to see us not be like-minded on one. So I think that's what I'm more interested in.
Okay, so blind ranking 5 Star Wars sidekicks. 1 being your favorite, 5 being your least favorite. You don't know who all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
First off, Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, Bobby, this is Bobby's guy. So
I have to. I know, but I'm like, I'm not.
yeah, you're not gonna put him at 1.
I'm like,
in your head it's 1.
I wanted to.
In your heart
I
it's
was
1.
like, I had to stop my hand because I'm like, wait, who's he gonna say next?
From a certain point of view, in a just lore aspect, if you're a good guy, he's a 5, right? He gives so much power to the Palpatine, and that's not even anything that the internet might say about him. That's just purely just like lore based, right, on the things he kind of put into motion. But
I mean, it was.
I don't know.
Palpatine lied to him too.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Or did he?
But oh no.
I don't know.
Always been the Phantom Menace.
Fortnite tells me otherwise, so.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Where
I feel like it has to be 4, or if Bobby, you want to put a little bias, 3. But I feel like he can't be higher than a 3.
I want to put him at least a 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you have to. Well, the
I
thing
really
with this
like
blind
Jar
stuff,
Jar
you
a
have
lot,
to
man.
think. You have to think who's next.
But also, Jar Jar is such a ride or die, man.
That's true.
Like all throughout the Clone Wars, even when
That's true.
or Clone Wars through Phantom Menace, while blaster bolts are zipping by, even while he might be goofily panicking a little bit, he's still there for everybody. You know, he still stayed around and stuck with the guys. Like as soon as Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan really took a chance and spoke up for him in front of the bosses, like you see his eyes perk up, like, oh, these guys just like they just
Right.
I'm a total stranger, and they just advocated for my life. You know, like you see that realization hit his face, and like from that moment on, he sticks to them like glue throughout the entirety of the Clone Wars and everything there too. And while he was clumsy and made some mistakes, and we got the Empire out of it. You know, he never did that. As with what we know from his story, he never did anything simply for himself at any point that we see him in. Every time we see Jar Jar, he is selflessly trying to help somebody else. Except for maybe his first interaction. Well, no, not even in his first interaction. Or definitely in his first interaction, because he still takes Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan to Otogonga, knowing
that he's not allowed
back there. Not just simply not allowed back there. Like
banished.
You're banished. Don't come back here ever. And then as soon as he gets back, arrested on the spot. What are you doing here? You were told not to come back. Why are you here? You're arrested.
So I think, because I was saying 3-4, you're saying 2-3. I think 3 is the pretty constant.
I'm putting him on 2.
2? Okay, all right. I'm actually, you know what? I'm curious.
After that, I convinced myself
I'm curious.
Definitely a number 2.
Loyalty brings him up. Okay.
He's such a ride or die. Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm more curious to see who's going to be left off because of that. So let's go 2 with Jar Jar.
I never would have thought. That's awesome.
Well, you talked to the biggest Jar Jar fan. That works out.
Sure.
That definitely works
I love
out.
Jar Jar.
Yeah, loyalty does.
So cool.
He's number 1 in loyalty, though. I will say that. Loyalty and selflessness. So.
And my man still pulls, because there was his girlfriend in Clone Wars. Remember?
That's true.
And the whole time they were looking at Mace like he was the weird one.
Right.
I am the biggest defender of that arc. I think that arc is so fun. It's so fun. Right on. Okay, so Jar Jar Binks is your number 2 Star Wars sidekicks. Okay, so next on the list, we got 4 to go still. Chewbacca the Wookiee.
Oh.
He's no Jar Jar. They're tall. He is tall.
I mean,
gosh, man.
Still got 4 to go.
I'm gonna catch so much flack. I'm putting Chewie at 3.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I was thinking 3 too. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
I
love
thinking
it.
At 3. I mean, like, it's kind of
another
like
ride or die.
The only thing that's like questionable, right? Like, I get that he kind of had to do into Ben like that because of his boy Han getting, literally decimated. But it's like, dang, hey, that's also his son too. But I don't know. I don't think there was a win-win there. But he didn't kill him, so I guess that was the, And
that is pretty wild for Chewie to lash out on somebody like Ben, because the life debt in Wookiee culture extends to the family. Well, the immediate family, at least, of the person that it's to. So that meant that the life debt wasn't just to Han at that point. It was also to Leia and Ben at the bare minimum.
I mean, he had just killed Han Solo at that point.
Right. With the primary, and I guess that's probably the one addendum in the clause, is if you harm the original life debt recipient, you're allowed to do harm to whoever else, maybe, or avenge them in any way, regardless of who it is.
That's the only thing that brings them down for me a little bit. It's like, I get it, but it's like, damn, that's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like weird at the same time. Like, this is like literally the only minus points I have in a very weird hear me out kind of situation. So
I have to plug this super quick. It's one of my favorite fan creations ever. Yeah. But if you haven't seen it, there's a short, like 2-page or about 1-page little comic called Ben. It's by an artist named Tyson Murphy. It was founded on Tumblr years ago. And it shows Chewie and Ben, and like the first panel is Chewie holding freshly born baby Ben Solo. And then it gets all the way to Ben's just killed Han Solo, and the next panel is Chewie zeroed in about with the crosshairs to shoot Ben in the head, and then it cuts back to him, and he shoots him in the hip. We talk about headcanon. Yeah, that's my headcanon forever.
No, I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah. Like I feel like that's probably the only reason Ben is still alive was because Chewie's initial reaction was, all right, we're taking this guy out.
Right.
But then
Yeah.
I like this guy, or I love this kid.
Yeah.
This is my nephew, basically, right?
Yeah.
I still
raised
got to
this
teach
kid.
him a lesson.
Right.
Like, he's still got to know.
He's like, what a
he did
craphead
was wrong.
kid.
Yeah, what am I doing? Oh wait, yeah, he deserves this.
Right.
Some of this.
All right. But Jar Jar's 2, Chewie's 3.
Jar Jar 2, Chewie 3.
Oh, boy.
We got 3 to go. Up next, BB-8.
I'm okay with a 5 here, honestly. I like
What?
them. I like them. Cool.
Outside.
Maybe it was cool, but I'm just trying to think of the future. What's going in 1 and 4? You know.
Got 3 to go.
That's true.
Yeah,
He did hit us with Chewie like right after.
Yeah.
Right after Jar Jar. And you know what?
I mean,
Now
loyalty was there though. Loyalty with BB-8 was there to both. You know, to both the prospective owners at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And BB-8 was really cool in Resistance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
BB-8 was really another great show that was cut off too soon.
100%.
Cut off too soon. Just like right as it
Yes.
found
Yep.
its voice. The show, like right as the show found its own unique voice, and like in a way that was like, oh, this is really getting good. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I call Resistance animated Andor before. You know, because it's like not about Andor itself. Andor's about the people, right, of the galaxy,
Right.
not the Jedi, not anything like that. And Resistance was kind of like that too, especially in that last season, where it's like, oh crap, so this is a First Order rule kind of thing. But then, you know, obviously it goes away really quick.
I'm gonna put BB-8 in 4 for me.
4?
Okay.
I'm putting him in 4 because
Okay.
I really like
Let's
BB-8 a lot. I'm a droids guy.
Let's ride. Yeah,
Right
let's
on.
see.
I'm
I'm very
Okay.
curious. Yeah, I'm curious on the last 2 then.
Man, this is fun. Okay, so we got Jar Jar at 2, Chewie at 3, BB-8 at 4. You have 1 and 5 still open. So 2 to go. Second to last sidekick, Grogu.
Oh.
5.
Yeah, I would say that's an easy 5. That's an easy
Grogu's
5.
a terrible.
Yeah, he's just holding them down most of the time.
Nuisance.
Yeah. Damn, baby, come on, dude. What are we doing
Come
here?
on. Yeah.
Alrighty.
But he gets
Grogu's
1
fine.
on cuteness though, so it's like, you know. But that's it though. Like,
He's a great wingman if Din was out there trying to date in a galaxy far, far away. He's a terrible wingman for everything else
Yeah.
Din is trying to do in a galaxy far, far away right now.
That right there is going to be the cold open for the podcast. I can tell you right now. That'll come up before the intro. He's a
I
great
love
wingman.
it. Yeah, and like just no context. He's a great wingman, and like people are like, who is he talking
What
about?
is he talking about? Din trying to date? Well then, okay. So we got Jar Jar at 2, Jar Jar at 2, Chewie at 3, BB-8 at 4, Grogu at 5. So your number 1, R2-D2.
oh yeah. Well, that worked out perfect. What a great list then. Yeah. What a great list.
Actually,
If we're
yes.
talking about
I like
loyalty, I was,
Yeah.
you know, we said,
R2-D2.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And from the way that y'all talked
no,
about him,
No,
that sounds like that's
Yeah.
pretty much the way y'all would have gone.
Yeah,
Yep.
actually. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah,
Easy.
That
Bobby
was
cooked.
awesome.
Bobby
that
cooked
was
with
so
2 then.
easy.
Bobby cooked with 2 actually. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical at first, but yeah, that's a great list. Yeah.
R2, R2.
Love them Skywalkers, man.
Definitely.
Love them Skywalkers. So
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Loyal
Always.
and fiercely loyal. Been blown up several times. You know,
Mhm.
and yeah, definitely worthy of that number 1 spot.
Love that. All right. Well, guys, this has been a fantastic conversation. This has been really, really great. But I'm going to roll out the red carpet one last time, and just for one more question, because we've talked about Rebel Scum Con a bunch, but there's a specific person listening, I'm sure, that needs to hear this. To someone that has never been to a convention before, ever, right? Because they're out there.
Yeah.
Why should they come to, if they're in this area, right, why should they come to Rebel Scum Con?
That's a great question. Ooh.
Yeah, it's heavy.
I'm gonna go, and then
Okay.
Bobby, you think of yours. I don't know. If you're on the more reasonable side of the Star Wars fandom, of just kind of taking things as it is, enjoying things for what it is, with the current state of how Star Wars internet is currently, I feel like it's really a breath of fresh air that you're gonna get. Um, it's one of those things where you're just around. And one thing that I've actually heard before, it's like, um, no one's gonna hate that much to pay to get into something where there's so many like-minded people, right? So
Yeah.
at that point, like, you're gonna be surrounded by people probably very similar of thinking in general, kind of like, oh, I like this, or even if I don't like this, it's fine, it's okay that you do like it, kind of thing. Um, I would say, just come out just to be around be the fandom as it really is, to be honest with you. The internet is a very interesting place to be a part of. It can be toxic in most times, but it really weeds out a lot of the kind of the keyboard warriors and maybe some things that aren't really thought out as much. Maybe just kind of just original thoughts. These are people that coming to like Rebel Scum Con are just people who just love Star Wars in general, and there's actually no explanation you need there. So if you love it just a little bit, you love it a lot, or you're kind of in between that, it's really why you need to come to something like this. And it's only getting bigger. That's the great part about it. So if you get in even sooner, boots on the ground, you feel even more part of it. So all eras, all fandoms, cosplay, gaming even too, like board gaming, RPGs, the lore, you just want to meet guests, whatever it may be, it's everything. Everything's going to be there for you. So if you're thinking, hey, I like Star Wars, you just need to come. Just make the trip, especially if you're in Texas, especially if you're in driving distance. No excuse. You need to come. It'll be an experience that you really can't find anymore. So yeah, I think that's my spiel on why you should come.
I think that's it, man. I think you did it. I mentioned we haven't been doing this podcast very long, but it is a very contentious time to be a Star Wars fan, at least on the internet. But then you talk to people in real life, and it is
so
not
much
always
different.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We say that it's been like it's kind of a time like that in Star Wars, but to be honest with you, as a Star Wars fan, I don't think I've ever not known the Star Wars fandom to be that way. In my experience, my entire life as a Star Wars fan, it's always been like that. There's always some fans who are just more negative than others, and they want to know why it's not the same flavor as it was last week, and for some reason that's upsetting. And then there's the rest of us. Or at least there's fans like myself who sit on the side of the fence who are like, oh wow, this is a different idea from last time. Okay, well, let's see where this goes, And for me, like, the excitement is seeing how those different puzzle pieces fit together, seeing how some, one character on this end of the timeline behaves the way they do, and how similar it was to a character on this end of the timeline, and how, oh wow, now I see how some of these events kind of came to fruition because of some of the things that this guy was doing over here and saying. Like, we talked about it on another podcast that someone brought up, where we were talking about kind of the origins of Anakin Skywalker, for an example, and how some fans were really upset at the fact that they thought that decanonized something else in Star Wars, but in the truth of the matter is, no, it didn't. Actually, what it did was it kind of gave us more context as to how Plagueis and Palpatine got the idea to even create some kind of Force chosen one for themselves, because we know that Palpatine and Sidious were gathering Force information and legends and artifacts and knowledge from more than just the Jedi Order or the Sith. And we know, because of like the Dathomir witches or ancient civilizations like the Sepho, that there were lots of other cultures too that practiced and viewed the Force in different ways. And there's another big misconception, a little Easter egg planted in Rogue One. The wills of the Force is not the Jedi Order.
Right.
They are not the Jedi Order. They worship the Force like the Jedi Order. There's some overlap in their values, but they're not the same organization. and nor were they introduced as such, even in Rogue One. So that's really cool to me, to see that there's more than that, and to see what led the Jedi and the Sith to be the way that they were. So to go back to your question about why I think a Star Wars fan should come, I think I'm going to make it it's a little bit simpler for me. Okay. I think a Star Wars fan should come because we made this event the Star Wars culture and fan event that we are excited to attend, that we want to be at, to experience the joys and the things that we love the most about Star Wars together. Whether that's cosplay, or getting an autograph from Sam Witwer or Katie Sackhoff, or Arvel, or Roger Christian, or Andy Succombe, or one of the many other guests coming. Or whether it was one of the 44 guests at year one, because we had lots of guests from, again, all over the saga. We had people who worked on Star Wars all the way back in 77, or leading up to 77, to people who were on shows that hadn't even come out yet on Disney Plus at year one. And that was simply because we love Star Wars. And that's why I think you should come. It's because we love Star Wars, and we think you love Star Wars too.
Man, if that's not a good invitation, I don't know what is. Yeah. That was awesome.
Love that.
Well, all right, guys. I think we did it. Do y'all have anything else to say before I kind of send y'all off into the ether? That sounds darker than I meant it.
No, I get what you meant. No. Other than may the Force be with all of you.
Yeah, hopefully we see everyone in August. Matt, and we'll see you. And
yeah,
absolutely.
I'll be there for sure.
Even if you can't, at least take a look at our socials and see what you're missing out on. Hopefully we see you next year. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Even if you can't come this year, check us out, what we're doing, and hopefully we win you over enough to, or your schedule frees up enough, whatever it may be, to where we see you the next year. So
on year two, that seems to be the issue more than on year one. On year one, it was like, what is this? What are y'all doing again? On year two, it's been more like, oh, I missed it on year one. Okay, maybe I can come out on year two. Oh, I heard about this. Oh, my schedule doesn't permit it. Like that's been, I think, the biggest one is schedule permitting.
Oh yeah.
Right on.
See you in August.
All right, guys. This is awesome. Yes, we hope to see you. I'll see you guys in August. I'm sure you'll be busy, but I'll run by and say hi.
Oh yeah,
because you're doing whatever else is happening.
Oh, we'll have time to hang.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Let's do it. But as for all of you watching, I hope to see you at Rebel Scum Con. And with that, I'm going to send you back to me and Zach for our wrap-up for this week's episode. And we're back. I really hope you enjoyed that conversation. I definitely did. Really liked talking to both of those guys. It was very easy to talk to them. I didn't have to talk very much. It's mostly them, and that's usually the sign of a good interview. But I hope you enjoyed it. This has been a long episode, so I'm going to wrap up pretty quick. Just with all of the Star Wars happening right now, there's something for everybody. We have reached for a short time, we're having the buffet of Star Wars. Tales of the Underworld, Andor Season 2. We just had Revenge of the Sith back in theaters. I really, really hope you're enjoying it, because it's not always this way, and there was a time when there wasn't anything near this much stuff for Star Wars fans. But we're enjoying it while it's here. And in the meantime, we'll see you next week. But for now, remember, the Force of Others will be with you. Always.
The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.